cold start, milder finish. The temperature trend that helps melt most of our snow by the end of the weekend.
Revitalize STL, a first look tonight at plans to breathe new life into neighborhoods plagued by crime, blight, and tornado destruction. Our top story, a gruesome discovery inside an apartment.
He stayed with her for 38 days.
Tonight, a roommate charged as a grieving family seeks answers.
That's the most inhumane thing that, somebody can do.
Tonight, that roommate is in jail charged with abandonment of a corpse. This is 5 on your side at 10. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. St. Louis County Police say officers found the body of LaWanda McGee. She was buried underneath blankets on a couch inside an apartment off I-70 and North Hanley Road. 5 on your side's Holden Kerwicki talked with McGee's sister, who believes she'd been dead for more than a month.
As she sits inside her North County home, Ashley Barrett can't help but think about her sister, LaWanda McGee.
She had just graduated from nursing school, so we were excited to see what she was preparing us for.
Barrett says she and her sister shared an unbreakable bond.
We buried pretty much everybody, that we grew up with, all our, parents, mom, dads, they're all gone. So it was just us two, so we were close.
Though the two hadn't talked since early December, Barrett admits it wasn't until other relatives voiced their concerns about the silence that alarms started going off in her mind.
I started calling the hospitals, every hospital in St. Louis just to figure out, hey, was she in the hospital? And then, I started calling other places just to see if maybe she was in other places. And then, I'm thinking to myself, well, she wouldn't be dead because I would have gotten a phone call.
According to St. Louis County Police, Barrett's worst fears were confirmed January 21st, when LaWanda was found dead inside her home.
We're guessing she died on or around December 15th.
LaWanda's roommate, 49-year-old Terrence Smith, now faces charges of abandonment of a corpse for letting her body decompose for weeks.
He stayed with her for 38 days and just, walked past her every day, covered her with blankets, tried to air the place out, so no one can smell it.
Barrett says her family is now waiting for toxicology results to determine her sister's cause of death, but regardless of what they find,
she doesn't deserve that.
Reporting in St. Louis County, Holden Kerwicki, 5 on your side.
LaWanda McGee will be laid to rest February 21st in Spanish Lake. Since she did not have life insurance, her family has started an online fundraiser to cover the cost of the funeral and support her 13-year-old daughter moving forward.
Right now, St. Louis police are looking for the man accused of setting a woman's body on fire and leaving it on the North Riverfront. An arrest warrant has been issued for 62-year-old Carl Ray Jr. for felony charges of abandonment of a corpse and hindering a prosecution. The body of 42-year-old LaToya Smith was found last month along a trail near Humboldt Avenue. According to court documents, surveillance captured Ray and his uncle in the act. The uncle has yet to be charged.
Tonight, St. Louis County Police are investigating a deadly shooting in North County. Officers were called to a home on Meridosa Trail about 5 hours ago. That's off Redmond and Old Halls Ferry. Investigators say one man was killed. His identity has not been released, and police right now have no suspects in custody. So anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 866-371-TIPS. You can remain anonymous. Turning now to your weather impact forecast. With snow on the ground, temperatures are expected to tumble into the teens overnight.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell says the winter warm-up is coming and it starts tomorrow.
It starts tomorrow, but not right out the door first thing. It is going to be a cold start for us on Thursday. Already tonight, Edwardsville is down to 14 degrees. It's 15 in Trenton and Mascoutah, 19 now in St. Charles, out in O'Fallon, Missouri. Baldwin's down to 22, 17 in Oakville. Those temperatures are dropping back. Lambert's still 23. The wind has gone calm. The air is dry. The sky is clear. That maximizes our radiational cooling tonight. So temperatures are dropping back into the mid-teens, probably some spots east of St. Louis and in some of the low spots here as you go to the southwest of town. In that range from about 5 to 10 degrees tomorrow morning. Fortunately, there won't be a lot of wind, so temperatures start in the teens tomorrow afternoon, and they climb back into the 20s. Eventually tomorrow afternoon, we're back to 41 degrees. We'll be around 50 on Friday. Look at your numbers next week. We'll talk more about that warming trend and when we finally see that snow getting off our ground in just a few minutes, Mike.
Just hours ago, people in North City got a first look at proposed plans to revitalize their neighborhoods.
Those plans were in the works before the May 16th tornado. 5 on your side's Laura Barcheski talked with longtime residents in the Baden neighborhood about what they want to see on their streets.
Mike and Kelly, residents tell me they want to see more people moving into Baden and North Point. They want more things for the kids in the neighborhood to do, and they want more businesses to make their city blocks thrive again. St. Louis officials, along with the neighborhood committee, presented a revitalization master plan for residents of Baden and North Point.
We do not have any adopted neighborhood plans for these neighborhoods now that provide some goals and vision that the city can follow and implement. So we're building that for the first time for these communities, and the goal would be to have more of a holistic approach to development.
The plan focuses on 6 different goals: housing, economic development, mobility, culture, public space, and resilience. Alderwoman Pam Boyd says housing is top of mind in North City, as so many were damaged or destroyed. Vacancy is another problem. There are 847 vacant properties in these 2 neighborhoods alone.
Well, over here it wasn't hit at the multitude of other areas, but housing is an issue, and I think what hurts me the most is we have solid housing stock over here, and we can do a lot to revitalize, to bring people back into these communities.
Longtime resident and business owner Gloria Gooden is on the neighborhood committee.
Down on Broadway, we're trying to revitalize that with businesses that are needed in the neighborhood, trying to get people to come again. We're going to have a donut shop. We're working with Sanctuary in the Ordinary. I've got somebody that's going to open a small business supply store down there.
Gooden says right now there's not much for kids to do, which doesn't attract young families who may be looking for their first home.
Down at 1200 Schweitzer, I had that torn down, and I'm working on making that an outdoor skating ring, a pickleball court, and a basketball court for the kids. I've been talking to them, and they told me what they want.
When you have a continuity like the tribe that helps the families raise their children and feed their kids and have great opportunities to let them thrive as a human being, then when they grow up, they want the same kind of community for themselves.
There's another meeting for North City residents in Academy, Fountain Park, and Lewis Place next Thursday. If your home's been affected by the tornado, you have until February 14th to apply for assistance with the city. I'll have more information on KSDK.com.
Tonight, we're counting down to the Winter Olympics in Milan Cortina. We're now about 36 hours away from the opening ceremony, but the games have already begun. The first curling matches got underway today. The puck drops on women's hockey tomorrow.
And a live look tonight at the Duomo in Milan. On Friday, the Olympic cauldron will be lit in the same piazza of the famed cathedral. A second cauldron will be lit in the mountains of Cortina.
So with dual host cities, this has been called the most spread out Olympics. 5 on your side's Corey Miller is at the games and gives us a lay of the land.
At the Games, sponsored by GMC. We are professional grade.
Welcome to Milan, one of the host cities for the 2026 Winter Olympics. The other is Cortina up in the mountains, and they're not close. It would be like if St. Louis and Chicago hosted the Olympics back in the United States. It will be a unique undertaking, to say the least.
The 2026 Winter Olympics in Italy is doing something never tried before.
I think it's fantastic, and the 2 cities and the widespread games, and then you have to put this into reality.
With organizers picking 2 cities to share the Olympic hosting duties.
So Milano, Cortina, and the IOC accepted this change of tradition, which is not always easy to change.
Hockey and ice skating are being held in Milan, and 5 hours away, alpine ski racing, curling, and bobsled are being held in Cortina.
In Cortina, there is a strong tradition. We have some of the best athletes.
The recent 2024 Summer Olympics had events all over Paris, but Italy is going bigger.
To represent this duality of our games, the city and the mountain.
With events all over northern Italy and the most spread out Olympics ever.
So the idea is to adapt the games to the territory, not vice versa. So we decided, since the candidature, to go in location.
Using existing venues so that Italy didn't build many new venues.
To go where existing venues were, rather than building new ones, and making sure that the venues will be used afterwards, in the mountains especially.
And while there are challenges from securing all these areas, to even getting people to all these places,
the transportation system that we have everybody not only spectators, but also media and Olympic family move through public transport.
Organizers say these Olympics will show the world a new way to host the Olympics, while also showing a lot of Italy.
Character and personality of our games is what we call the new Italian spirit.
Because these Olympics are so spread out, athletes will be spread out too, with 2 separate Olympic villages. And of course, 5 on Your Side is your home for the Winter Olympics. Corey will report from the games for the next 2.5 weeks. You can catch him live from Milan weekday mornings on Today in St. Louis.
Brewing memories for the big game.
Humor, nostalgia, or inspiration, emotion always wins on the Super Bowl stage.
Tonight, the new King of Beers shares the secrets of its commercial-making craft. Standing in the Hall of Fame, the celebration tonight of a new class of St. Louis sports icons.
A hint of spring arrives early next week, but out the door tomorrow morning requires extra layers. Why the next 12 hours may be the coldest out of the next 10 days.
New developments tonight in the search for the mother of Today's Show co-host Savannah Guthrie. Within the last few hours, she and her siblings released their first video statement since 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie's disappearance over the weekend. They acknowledged reports of ransom notes saying they're willing to negotiate with an abductor but need proof their mother is alive and well.
Everyone is looking for you, Mommy, everywhere. We will not rest. Your children will not rest until we are together again.
Nancy Guthrie requires life-saving medication. Police say they do not have any suspects at this time. NBC has selected Mary Carrillo to replace Savannah Guthrie as Terry Gannon's co-host of the opening ceremony of the Olympics. The former tennis player has served as a host and commentator at 16 previous Olympic Games.
A St. Louis music legend has died. Lamont McLemore was a founding member of the Fifth Dimension. The popular pop and soul group won 6 Grammy Awards, including 2 Record of the Years for Up, Up and Away and Aquarius, Let the Sunshine In. The Navy veteran and former aspiring professional baseball player went on to become a sports and celebrity photographer. McLemore died yesterday at his home in Las Vegas. He was 90 years old.
Now to a live look at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California tonight. That's where the Seattle Seahawks and New England Patriots will play in Super Bowl 60 Sunday night. And you can watch the game right here on 5 on Your Side. Super Bowl week is well underway and football fans are pouring into the Bay Area. Jay Strubberg takes us to the ultimate fan celebration.
Well, the Super Bowl isn't until this Sunday when the Patriots take on the Seahawks in Santa Clara. But right now, all of the action is in downtown San Francisco. I am at the Moscone Center, where it is buzzing with fans of all stripes, all ages, packing this place to do a lot of festivities before the game. Behind me, you see people kicking field goals. You can also do a 40-yard dash against a virtual NFL player. And if you don't want to move around, there's also plenty of time to do things like talk to players that may show up. You can also check out up close the top prize of them all for the NFL players, and that is the Vince Lombardi Trophy. It is an all things football display, and the NFL is kind of pitching this as a way to be a part of this Super Bowl experience, even if you can't afford that pricey ticket to make it in the front doors for the actual game.
A teenager from the Bi-State was at the fan experience today and will be in the stands at Levi's Stadium on Sunday. Jalen is one of just 3 teens nationwide selected by the Boys and Girls Club of America to win a free trip to the Super Bowl. She was named a champion of change for her project focusing on raising mental health awareness among young people. More than 100 million Americans will tune into the game, putting pressure on advertisers.
And tonight, Jen Sullivan sits down with a marketing executive from Anheuser-Busch to talk about their craft in making memorable Super Bowl commercials.
When it comes to Super Bowl commercials,
why didn't they invite us? Well, we're salty.
The competition to win your attention may be just as fierce as the competition on the field.
When you talk about the Super Bowl, the pressure is always high.
Ricardo Marquez is the vice president of marketing for Michelob Ultra, one of the many beer brands that's owned by Anheuser-Busch. This year's ad is called the Ultra Instructor, featuring big names like Kurt Russell,
strapped in,
and Lewis Pullman, who skis against NHL player and former Olympian TJ Oshie and gold medalist Chloe Kim for the ultimate prize, not having to pick up the bar tab.
Here we have the opportunity to connect with an audience of 100+ million consumers.
Last year, more than 127 million people on average in the U.S. tuned into the Super Bowl, according to Nielsen. It's consistently the most watched event on television every year. For marketing companies, it's a whole year of planning on the line that boils down to 30, or in this case, 60 seconds on the clock.
This was a multi-month process.
And it comes with a multi-million-dollar price tag. NBC, which is carrying the big game this year, says some companies are paying upwards of $10 million for a 30-second spot. And while Michelob Ultra won't release what they paid, they did say it's a big financial investment, which is why their team spends an entire year working on it.
Humor, nostalgia, or inspiration, emotion always wins on the Super Bowl stage.
Marcus says while you want to create something memorable, the ultimate goal is promoting your product. They also measure success by how much buzz the commercial gets online, which is why many companies now release their ads ahead of the Super Bowl. And Monday morning, it's back to the drawing board to come up with next year's big idea. Jen Sullivan, 5 on your side.
And we should probably mention you can watch the big game and the commercials Sunday night right here on 5 on your side.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is here with the weather impact forecast, and it's another cold night, but hopefully things will be changing after tonight.
For Super Bowl Sunday, temperatures are going back into the 50s around St. Louis, so that's going to be a bit of a change. Yeah, you know, that's right. Fire up the grill for the guests. All right, you're looking over at Edwardsville, already down into the low and mid-teens in some of the outlying areas right now. Skies are clear across our region. That means a cold night tonight. Tomorrow afternoon, we rebound. It'll be about 10 degrees warmer than today. We had 31 today. Tomorrow, 41. Around 50 on Friday. Backing it off behind a front. We just kind of get brushed by the cold Arctic air on Saturday as it heads into the Great Lakes in the Northeast. And then as we go into Monday and Tuesday, look at that. Back into the 60s. Outside of a few piles of snow left next week, I think most of it's going to be gone. Certainly what's in your backyard pretty much is. Warmer than average right through the end of next week into next weekend. That doesn't mean it's necessarily really warm at the end of next week, but warmer than average. To get there, we have to get through tonight. The winds have died. The skies are clear. There is snow on the ground, so you have maximum cooling in play tonight. Those winds dying down, temperatures are dropping in some cases a degree or two an hour. It's not going to surprise us if a few spots are in that 5 to 10 degree range tomorrow morning. Fortunately, clouds will start to roll in early tomorrow. That should shut off the cooling towards daybreak. Vandalia, Litchfield, Flora, more likely than not around 10 to 12. Perryville's in that ballpark. But again, there will be isolated spots in the single digits. In St. Louis, we're thinking about 18 out the door. Yes, a fair amount of clouds early on, but they'll thin out tomorrow afternoon. Winds aren't too strong. They're out of the southwest, 5 miles per hour. Looking ahead towards the end of the weekend, here's your warm up on Friday. Now, it comes with a pretty stiff breeze. We're around 50 for the high. Cooler on Saturday, Sunday, back into the mid-50s. Here's the deal, though, on Saturday. If you're east and northeast of St. Louis, much cooler, staying in the 30s. West and southwest, you get a taste of that 50 down towards Rolla. By Sunday, we do expect all of us to get into the much milder weather, a dry weekend, relatively uneventful. Going into next week, we're keeping the Arctic air up to our north. And while we'll cool off a bit towards the end of next week, not really all that cold. 41 tomorrow after that frigid start in the morning, around 50 on Friday. I think by the time we get to Sunday night into Monday, it's doubtful we will be looking at snow on the ground for most of us. I think most of it's going to be melted, except for the big piles in the grocery store and maybe at the end of your driveway as well.
Yeah, well, it's nice that we're going to have a warm up because we deserve one after it's cold.
We've earned it.
Yeah. Scott, thanks. Frank is next with sports.
So, Mike, the Blues are trying to end a dreadful streak. Illinois is trying to keep their streak alive. And do you ever wonder what happened to Layla from the Blues' 2019 run? We'll tell you about that when we come back. Tonight, the Blues are in Dallas, and you talk about limping into the Olympic break. Get this, they haven't won a road game in 46 days. That's 9 games consecutive losses without playing a game at Enterprise. I mean, that's pretty brutal. Let's go to Big D. Blues got off to a good start. Pavel Buchnevich on the power play with the one-timer, his 12th, and it's 1-0 note. Late in the first, Jordan Kyrou just kind of walks in and delivers the lethal wrister, his 13th. That made it 2-1 right now. Stars lead it 4-2. Blues made a trade today. Nick Bukestad goes to New Jersey for minor leaguer Thomas Bordelot and a 4th rounder. Illinois basketball has been dominating and dazzling. They took an 11-game win streak into tonight's game against Northwestern. They are 19-3, 5th in the country. Keep winning, and you will be in St. Louis for the opening weekend of the NCAA tournament. What a shooting display. How about Jake Davis from 26 feet away? And then it's Ben Hummerkaus from 25 feet. How about David Merkovich from 24 feet? Thomas Ivasic from 26 feet. You're getting the trend here, aren't you? And to end the half, how about the magic of Keaton Wagler? That's 11 threes in the first half, 17 for the game. It's basketball perfection. Illinois rolls 88-44. The St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame held their induction ceremony tonight at the downtown Missouri Athletic Club. Some of the greats of the St. Louis sports world were honored. We will show you some tonight and a few others over the next few days. A packed house in the main ballroom at the MAC. First up being honored was the one and only Layla Anderson. She is a lovely 17-year-old senior at Westminster Christian Academy and has a 4.0 GPA. You may remember her as one of the inspirations of the 2019 Blues Stanley Cup champion squad. She was battling at the time a rare immune disease. She had so much moxie, I gave her the mic, and she did my interviews live on Channel 5.
That was crazy. I don't know what 11-year-old me was thinking, but she had no fear. That was fun.
So do you think that their run gave you strength to beat this?
Absolutely. I mean, I remember my parents and I, if I was receiving chemo, it's always like, we've got the Blues game on at 7. That was like my biggest motivation to keep fighting and really complete my treatment. So I'm super grateful.
She's the best. Also entering the Hall, Todd Worrell, one of the most feared relievers in the 1980s. He was a 6'6" closer who threw around 100. Rookie of the Year. He was 3 times an All-Star, twice he led the league in saves, and once he was named the Fireman of the Year, and he loved pitching for Whitey Herzog.
He made it easy for me, and I was glad to be able to be managed by him, and I think a lot of that, as I got farther into my career, Whitey was a good part of that.
We are really excited at 5 on your side to be a part of the Super Bowl. Don't know if you've heard, but we're broadcasting the game and the Olympics too, and Corey Miller is there also. Not sure if we've mentioned this in the last 2 minutes of the newscast. Anyway, let's talk some football. For Patriots quarterback Drake May, the next 96 hours could be life-altering. Tomorrow, he's a finalist for league MVP in just his 2nd year. And then on Sunday, he could become the first of the heralded quarterback class of 2024 to not only make the Super Bowl, but win it. Does he take any special significance in that?
We know we're all trying to get to the same stage and get to the same games and get to the same Super Bowl wins, and it just so happened that I got here first, but I know those guys are great players. We're having a lot of great matchups between us down the road, and I know they're great players, have had great years, and looking forward to many more matchups with them.
And I realize it's not the sexiest of matchups, these two teams, but it's the Super Bowl. How could you watch anything else?
Yeah, well, I think everybody will be watching the Super Bowl. I really feel bad for the New England Patriots fans. What did they go, like 6 decades without winning? I mean, what did they go, just a couple of years since Tom Brady left them, and now they're back there already.
They should have suffered a lot longer.
Yes.
Absolutely right about that.
And on another note, Layla, it's so good to see her doing so well, and she's a senior?
Yes, she's a senior, and interesting thing is all of the teachers, or like a bunch of teachers from Westminster Christian Academy, love her so much. They were there in the audience to cheer her on.
Oh, that's great.
That is so nice.
She still is an inspiration.
She really is. All right, today in St. Louis is getting an earlier start. Starting Monday, Michelle, Mercedes, Gary, and Paul will be on the air beginning at 4:30 a.m. They'll bring you the latest news, weather, and traffic through 9 a.m. on our free streaming app. We'll be right back.
Here's a Winter Olympics fact that sounds wrong but isn't. Figure skating did not start in the Winter Olympics. It actually debuted as an Olympic sport at the 1908 Summer Olympics held in London. At the time, there were no Winter Olympics yet. So in 1908, figure skating medals were awarded at the Summer Games, indoors, on artificial ice in the middle of the year. There were men's events, women's events, pair skating, and even something called special figures, where skaters trace precise patterns into the ice. Figure skating, and later ice hockey, helped convince the Olympic Committee that winter sports deserved their own stage. That finally led to the first Winter Olympics in 1924.
Look at you dropping some Olympics knowledge. And for more coverage of the Olympics, just log on to our free streaming app. We have several specials on the Winter Games, including the players to watch. Download the app by scanning the QR code you see right on your screen or by searching KSDK in your TV's app store.
And there you have it, 5 on your side at 10. We're always streaming on your phone and smart TV.
Start your day with Today in St. Louis at 5 a.m.